Okay, what up, friendos? We're talking today about a new game, Bellwright. You might have seen it pop up on your Steam. It was on my, front page as a popular. It seemed like a lot of people were buying the game. It was like third or fourth on most purchased. And I've got some things to talk about this. Originally, I was just going to make this video to, I guess, shine a light on the developer and the problems that may come from, the game being by this developer. But then I thought, I might as well buy it, put some time in, and see what the game's like, as well as talk about that, just so I can give a contrast between what I expected and what it is, and what I expect going forward. So that's what I did. I only played for about 5-6 hours. I feel like that's obviously not enough time to review the game, but I can give you my first impressions, and then why I wouldn't recommend this game, because obviously people are going to be asking the question, is it worth buying? Because why would a random survival game appear on the most popular section of Steam? It's because people love this genre. Now, if you don't know anything about this developer, man, where do we start? So this is Donkey Crew, which is a pretty fitting name if you're a big fan of Gordon Ramsay, because these people are fucking donkeys. These guys have developed multiple games, and when I say developed, we're using that term a little bit loosely, because what they typically tend to do, they have an actual track record, not once, not twice, but 3 times releasing a game in early access. And how'd that work out for the other 2 they released? Well, they're still in early access. Well, actually, one got pulled off Steam and just abandoned completely. Of Kings and Men, it was originally called, which people didn't like. And obviously, failure is a part of progress in life. I'm not saying you shouldn't be allowed to fail. And early access is a venue to release an unfinished game and then hopefully iterate upon that and deliver on the full vision. But I'll give you one. I'll give you one chance on that. And then obviously they released Last Oasis as well, a game that I played at the beginning, thought it was a fairly decent game for what it was in early access. And then that essentially also got abandoned. And within the time frame of Donkey Crew and Last Oasis fizzling out over many years, there was multiple issues, and also the developer was caught in Discord basically lying about who owns the company, right? Because originally, obviously, if now you go on Steam and click on them as the developer, it'll take you to a section that shows all these other games that are Snail Games, is the big Chinese company that owns them and owns all these other little studios. Originally, people said, are you owned by Snail Games? And they said categorically no. And then if you went and looked up the Snail Games SEC reports, you'd see that they literally tell the US government, the US Securities and Exchange Commission, we wholly own Donkey Crew. So when the person in charge of the company goes in Discord and says, no, we're not owned by them, they just invested in us, it's frankly fucking ridiculous to tell that lie. So then, of course, it got discovered that they were making Bellwright. And obviously some people are going to say, oh, I don't care, if the game's good, the game's good. But it's another early access game. So this is all context you need to understand before making a decision on whether you want to buy the game or not. But with it being in early access, and why that plays a factor is because what the game is now means that it might stay this way or only marginally get improved and have content added for your box price of like $25 or whatever it is. I'm just checking now. The game's $27 right now with the 10% discount. So basically, if you buy Bellwright on Steam now, there's a good chance that what you're getting, what you see is what you get. And personally, I have like a scale, like I tend to judge games in early access in 3 different categories. One being, it's just outright dog shit, never worth buying, don't consider it whatsoever, just shovelware or whatever else. The second and the middle ground one, where I usually spend a good chunk of my money, is the games that you're buying that are okay now. They might be a little bit of fun, but might get really good later on. And then the third one, games like Bannerlord when it came out, or Warband originally, which was one of the pioneers for early access on Steam. Manor Lords when it comes out in a couple of days, which I've been playing as well, which I'll probably also drop a review on. Games that are right then worth the money regardless of if they get a single patch extra, so you don't ever feel bad whether or not the game gets finished or not. I'm going to say Bellwright is in the second group, right? It's one of those where you can see what they're doing and it's okay in places. It's actually fairly fun to play in kind of a slow-paced, relaxing way. The game's not too demanding. It runs fine, at least on my system. I've had no issues. But then there's things in there that you're just like, man, this really needs a ton of work. And are these developers the ones who are going to put in a ton of work, considering their track record of repeatedly abandoning games? Now, what I will say is that good for them, I guess, they've actually scaled back the idea of what they've done before. Of Kings and Men was a multiplayer supposed to be on servers and people battling each other, a much larger scale than what this game is. Last Oasis was supposed to be a fucking huge open MMO, which was stitching a bunch of servers together, kind of like what Atlas does, to be an MMO with small servers that allow you to travel between each other, making it seem like a big persistent world. This is a solo or small co-op survival game, so scaling all that back might allow for a team that have bit off more than they can chew repeatedly to actually deliver a serviceable game and maybe even, you know, fucking finish one for once. So they've got that going in their favor, but there's just some things about the game that just, the AI is bad, the AI is really bad, the combat's really not good. That needs a ton of work. The general movement and everything is just super fucking clunky. The building system seems like a novelty in terms of like constantly clicking, oh, place this here, and you're seeing it build brick by brick essentially, or piece of wood by piece of wood in my game currently. That seems cool the first couple times you do it, and then when you're building your like 15th building that requires you to click 100 times in random locations on your screen while moving around, that's way less fun later on. One big thing is that they're trying to tell a story within the game, which I don't think is necessary for the type of game they're doing. Cool if they do, I guess. But you're walking through the game world and every fucking NPC is, I don't know if they've confirmed it's AI, but it's AI. Like every NPC is speaking to you with like the most monotone, I know, Rich coming from me, right? The most monotone, bored, just shit voice acting. The writing's obviously not very good either.
Stock up now for your journey ahead.
Tend the livestock, keeping them fed and watered.
Don't try anything. Come closer. Looking for trouble?
Obviously, this is an area of the game that it's just like, I understand not wanting to pay for voice actors and stuff, but if you're gonna have it in your game, you're gonna have it. I don't agree with a company that's funded by a big fucking massive publisher that's got a bunch of games that make a lot of money, releasing something that's using AI for all the voices in the game. That just seems like a bullshit cop-out, and I'd prefer to have no voices in the game as opposed to somebody using AI. It's jarring. The quality from voice to voice is incredibly different. It's just really not good. It's just really jarring, like I said. So what the game actually is, I guess that's a good place to go, is like any other survival game, but you're building a village. If you played Medieval Dynasty, it's kind of like that. It does some things better than that. It does other things worse. And then it's kind of like Pal World in a way, where you're getting workers and they have stats and skills and they can level up those stats and skills and you can level them up for them. And you're essentially giving them a priority list of what do I want them to do, which sounds great. And in practice, just really under-delivers because they'll just do random shit. You can obviously give them a priority to do stuff, but the AI will just get stuck sometimes and they'll just do things that they don't need to be doing. There'll be no food to cook, but they'll constantly refuel the fire. You'll tell them to cut wood and then it should be getting moved to a certain area, and then they won't. They'll pick up tools and walk away with them and then not use them so nobody else can use the section because there's no tool there. Like there's just a bunch of stuff. I could go in with like a million details and examples, but it's obviously just really early as an idea. It's also incredibly slow-paced as a game, which, if you like that, if you're looking for a relaxing game, cool, I guess. But you just have to know that 5-6 hours in, you're basically going to be doing the same things, running around picking rocks up off the ground because, for whatever reason, you don't get a pickaxe for quite a while in the game. The material, unless you go kill bandits, you're just not going to get for a while. Everything is at a snail's pace, which makes sense considering it's coming from a publisher called Snail Games, whether they want to say it is or not. The game has like 60% review score right now on Steam after like 500-600 reviews. There's 3,300 people playing the game on Steam as I speak. It's a second day release and it's probably going to have roughly the same amount of players as it did on the first day. It doesn't seem to have grown massively or shrunk massively. So the people that are trying it and playing it are somewhat enjoying it. The mixed review, despite the fact the developers got a really checkered history, might say that people are enjoying the game more than what they thought they were going to. But overall, I could never, even if I had a ton of fun with Bellwright, which, you know, I had a decent time playing on my own, and I probably would have had a much better time playing co-op if the servers worked, which I don't know whether they do, didn't try that. But even if I had the best time ever with this game, I still could never recommend anybody buy it. This is one of those that, obviously, if you want to support it, cool, but just know you're supporting a massive publisher that has allowed this developer to do this repeatedly. They don't need the money. If they wanted to support the game to finish, then they could do. They don't need you for that. Just know you're basically throwing your money in and hoping that third time's the charm, they actually finish the fucking game. I personally would never recommend anybody do it, just because they've already had 2 opportunities and completely failed at doing so. And at no point do the developers really seem like they're trying to make amends for any of that stuff. They're banning people who mention their previous games on the discussion board, and have been doing for like a year now since Bellwright appeared on the Steam platform. So yeah, even if the game was amazing, I definitely wouldn't recommend it. Obviously, if you're into this type of game, there's a bunch coming out all the time. I don't think this is one that you have to, you know, go out and get right now. If the game gets finished and they improve on all the things that currently don't work amazingly, they've got the foundation here of something that I think could be a fun game. But it's always going to be, do they actually ever build on that foundation? How much do they do it? And I just can't give them the benefit of the doubt on this one. They've had 2 opportunities. This is the third. And hopefully they prove me wrong and they go on and finish the game completely, and it's great. And it's another example of early access doing what early access should do, and allowing for a developer to fund while they develop and release a game that's good and finished and people really enjoy. I don't think that will be the case, and obviously less people that buy it means it's less likely for them to finish the game. Last Oasis had hundreds of thousands of buys. But there we go. Thanks for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed. There will be more gaming content on this channel going forward. I'm going to be doing some reviews and stuff. And go buy Gamer Subs, Anime Girl Thigh, Focus, and other flavors. They also do like a sleeping one now called AFK. Pretty damn good. You can buy Gamer Subs. You can buy their cups, their merch, whatever it's going to be. You can use my link in the video description. You'll get a discount, I'll get money back. Win-win for everybody. And that's it for this one, guys. So if you buy it, best of luck. Hopefully it works out. I wouldn't recommend it personally, even if the game is, at the very beginning, you know, fairly decent. Maybe I'm going to continue playing, and maybe I'll post like a full review when I get more into it. But knowing me, I'll probably drop it at this stage and just hope that they develop. I'm past my refund window, but I wanted to be able to try the game before, you know, talking about it and saying don't buy just based on the company. If it would have been an amazing game and not really need any patches to be super enjoyable and worth the money, I would have given you that context and said, yeah, you can buy the game, have a really good time, and it doesn't really matter if they do more. But this game needs more done before it's worth the money. So there we go. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.